Right now, President Obama saying he is confident in the ability of the U.S. to protect itself from terror and to ultimately destroy ISIS. While at the ASEAN summit this weekend in Malaysia, the president also saying the media plays a key role by making sure coverage is not overblown and does not empower the terrorists. Listen.
The media needs to help in this. I mean, I just want to say, during the course of this week, a very difficult week, it is understandable that this has been a primary focus. But one of the things that has to happen is how we report on this has to maintain perspective and not empower in any way these terrorist organizations or elevate them in ways that make it easier for them to recruit or make them stronger.
Shaking her head as she heard the president, Tammy Bruce, a radio talk show host and a Fox News contributor. Alan Colmes, he's the one in the blue jacket.
That's me.
Nationally syndicated by Fox News Radio. All right, so Tammy, what was it that displeased you, what you heard?
Well, he really likes to micromanage everything, doesn't he? Obama's focus has always been about winning the news cycle. And the only way you can do that is to make sure that the reporters don't cover actually what's happening in the world. What happens when you cover something like Paris and the terrorism that's exploding, you find out what a failure Obama is. He had a plan for this next year, and this is what I go into my column today in the Washington Times. His plan for the next year was race riots on campus, bad cop marches, gun control, and climate change. In looking at the failure that has happened here around the world, the horrible violence, people deserve to know, they need to be advised as to the condition of the world, and that's the thing that not only Obama is concerned about, but the Democrats don't like either. And so here he's telling the media, in other words, to do what he's doing. Ignore it, downplay it, don't even discuss it, discuss what's important to me in my narrative. That's what he wants them to do. That's what they've normally done. And this week they stopped.
When you have attacks like we've seen in Paris with more than 10 dozen people dead, when you've got the subway system shut down and the city paralyzed in Brussels because they are afraid of an imminent terror attack, it's a little unusual for the president to step up and tell the media to maintain perspective, isn't it?
Well, of course they should maintain perspective, and I think you've got it wrong on a couple of counts to say that he's doing nothing or that he's just sitting back or that he's somehow the Paris attack is his fault is certainly a false narrative. I want a president who's calm. The hysteria that we see is exactly playing into the hands of the terrorists. They would love to see an hysterical media, people going crazy and giving them all this attention, and that's exactly what we shouldn't be doing. We should have a measured response, which is exactly what the president's doing, which is the proper response for a leader to have, in spite of all the brickbats going his way. It's smart of him to even come off as dispassionate, not to give the terrorists the kind of emotional reaction they would love us to have.
He has said, we are not afraid, Tammy, and we will wipe out ISIS. Well, on what basis do we believe that? He has said that before, and, a year or more into the ISIS fight, they seem to be getting stronger.
Well, it sounded to me like another red line, didn't it? Yeah. This is a man who says a lot of things and just doesn't do them. And he says enough to, again, win the news cycle so that then you can go into the nature of what he'd prefer to have be covered. While the world is dealing with this, yes, America has realized the top #1 issue now in the polls for the presidency and the election for the American people is now terrorism. The economy is second. That is not what he wanted to see. This is the Obama legacy. And this is the thing that infuriates him more than ever. And I don't know what he's been doing because I think we finally blew up some oil trucks, I'm not sure. But the reaction from America has really been to do nothing. It has been France.
Absurd.
And it's, what have we done? What did we do after Paris?
Well, just before the Paris attacks, two ISIS leaders were killed. One was Jihadi John. Somebody else was killed in Syria. Somebody else was killed in Iraq. To say that he's doing nothing is just a false narrative that is
But
being
we have
put out by the
Beirut,
media.
we have Beirut,
And in
we have
fact-
Paris, and Mali.
And in fact, land has been taken back from ISIS in both northern Iraq and in Syria.
Alan, all that may be true,
But it's true.
but the fact
But
is,
it's not getting attention.
tell that to the 40 dead in Beirut, 130 dead in Paris, and the 20 dead in
But all
Mali.
you want to concentrate is you don't want to concentrate and
doesn't
focus
make a
on the
difference.
land that's been taken back from ISIS and that they are losing territory.
It's about this entire picture that has to be dealt
Well, the
with.
media has
not
to
winning
also
the news
report on the
cycle.
gains that are being made.
Well, the police chief of Washington, D.C. was one of those featured on 60 Minutes last night. She had a somewhat different take from the president. Here's her comment.
If you educate people on actions they can take to reduce their risk, then you can save some lives. And I think it's irresponsible for us not to do that. I'm not worried about an overreaction. I'm more worried about a numbness to what is potentially a reality.
A numbness?
Yes.
How do you mean?
Just ignoring it and not preparing yourself. That's not an option anymore.
So the president is worried about the media overreacting. She's worried about people being numb and not being prepared.
Dianne Feinstein says she's never been more concerned. This police chief in D.C. says the same thing. John Kerry noted when he was running for president that he wanted people to consider terrorism a nuisance. There is something at a numbness and an ignoring of the dynamic that will get you killed. And I think there is more danger to underreacting and ignoring than there is to actually facing the truth of the matter.
All the president is saying is we should not be hysterical. We should not have an overreaction on the media, not overreact to something that would only give the terrorists the kind of reaction they would like to see us have. That's what he's saying.
I don't particularly care what ISIS wants. They just need to get killed.
Well, I think we shouldn't feed into the hysteria that only gives them more comfort. That's not what we should be doing.
The thing we need to be concerned about is eliminating them from the planet.
And I want a leader who's dispassionate
instead of worrying about what they
and
think.
not promoting hysteria on the media.
Yeah.
All right. We'll continue to cover, obviously, whatever happens in regard to this story. It's a line for the media to try to balance on.
Just report the news. That's all you need to do.
Alan Colmes and Tammy Bruce, thank you.
Thank you.